everybody, welcome to another episode of HPCritical, podcast where my friends and I talk all things gaming. I'm sorry that you've missed us for so long, but we are back recording an episode and ready to go. And I'm here with Brandon.
We're back!
And Kelly.
Hi, guys.
And a Gabe that will eventually, hopefully, be here when he gets off of work. It's really late. So this podcast probably won't be too long because we're all a little tired. So let's just hop right into it and start by talking about the Game Awards, because we did not record before or after. And I haven't seen you guys since the Game Awards, even though we were talking about it a little bit. So really quickly, what were some of your favorite things that happened, presentations, if any, or favorite games that won anything? How you guys feel about the presentation overall?
Well, I'm actually shocked. It is a shame that we couldn't get recording because we all ended up I think watching it at our own time. It's just circumstances just didn't allow us to record. But nevertheless, I will say, Game Awards aside, it was really cool talking to you guys via chat as things were happening.
I know.
I would a lot of people are complaining about the Game Awards, and I gotta be honest, I'm sure it actually was really long. It didn't really feel it because we were talking during pretty much the entirety of it, so it felt like it was going quick. But as for to answer your question, as far as what things I like, I always appreciate right before they actually announced the Game of the Year award, they have the orchestra that's just doing a medley of all the 6 nominees. That's always my favorite. Mm-hmm. And I'm actually, and even though I haven't personally played it myself yet, I think It Takes Two does deserve its award. Honestly, there wasn't a game of those 6 that made me feel ooh, I hope that one doesn't win. They all felt like very solid games. I'm happy Metroid Dread at least got 1 award. That was really nice. Yeah, it was a decent show overall. There were some highs and there was lows. It's just, I watched it, saw awards, saw announcements, but it was last week, so I'm struggling to remember some of the specifics. So
well,
yeah, go on.
I can tell you guys what won, because I was gonna go over it a little bit really quickly, which I probably should have done first, so we can talk about some of the games that won, which includes It Takes Two for Game of the Year, Dream for Content Creator of the Year, Final Fantasy XIV for Ongoing Game, as well as Community Management, I believe, Genshin Impact for Mobile Game, Elden Ring for Most Anticipated, It Takes Two for Multiplayer Game, Audio Design went to Forza Horizon 5, Best Narrative went to Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxies, Best Fighting Game was Guilty Gear Strive, Performance went to Maggie Robertson for her portrayal of Lady Dimitrescu in Resident Evil Village. Best role-playing game was Tales of Arise. Esports player, I'm skipping. Best art direction was Deathloop. Yes, I'm skipping it. I'm sorry. Esports game went to League of Legends. It was community support was Final Fantasy XIV. Best action game went to Returnal. Best independent game went to Kena Bridge of Spirits. Best action adventure title went to Metroid Dread. Best sports/racing game also went to Forza Horizon 5. Best strategy game was Age of Empires 4. Soundtrack/score went to Nier Replicant. Games for Impact went to Life is Strange True Colors. Best studio game direction went to Arcane Studios and Bethesda Softworks, and that's pretty much all the big stuff aside from Player's Voice, which went to Halo Infinite, and debut indie game, which went to Kena Bridge of Spirits, and Innovation and Accessibility, which also went to Forza Horizon 5. So having recapped that, Kelly, is there anything that stood out to you, anything that you appreciated during the awards or did not appreciate?
I appreciated most of it. Most of the games, if they won in categories that I didn't really know, I wasn't really rooting for a game in those categories. I definitely was happy about Lady Dimitrescu winning the best performance because obviously everyone was obsessed with her all year. If she didn't win, I would have been really shocked because everyone was, like I said, obsessed. Best ongoing and best community support were the Final Fantasy XIV. Definitely excited about that. I was literally screaming. I don't know what I would have expected to win, to be honest with you, because Fortnite is just okay, and that was the only other thing I really can remember as a nominee. So that I was excited about. Definitely It Takes Two deserved Game of the Year. I've only played the first 2 kind of chapters of it, but I'm playing with my boyfriend and it's really fun. It's so fun. And it's like engaging enough and not too hard, but like challenging. It's like not like I'm not getting mad. Like, okay, Cuphead, I'm getting mad. This
Yes.
game like is just it's challenging enough, but it's not like so infuriating that you don't want to play anymore. So yeah, that was definitely the highlights for me. What they announced though, I'm definitely looking forward to a lot. I mean, a lot of the games on this list. Hellblade 2, Evil West looks pretty
so
good. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. A couple of different things, like, okay, I was really excited for Suicide Squad when they first kind of showed it because the graphics looked so good and like that first little like cutscene. And then as I watched it more, I was like, it doesn't look as good as I kind of thought.
Okay, can I before you continue, can I piggyback off that real quick?
Yeah.
Just real quick, because I kind of felt the same after seeing Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Because yeah, I too was intrigued by it after that first trailer, and then they showed like gameplay of it, and I was simultaneously more excited and less excited seeing it because it seems like, aside from like some perks because of who they are, they seem like they're gonna be playing mostly the same because they just all had guns and they were just like shooting things around them. And I was like, oh, I thought they'd be more individualized. This is kind of not as interesting. I mean, it could still be a lot of fun. I need to see more, but after coming out, it was like, King Shark with a gun. That's not quite what I envisioned for King Shark. Yeah. But yeah, that's just my thoughts. Continue. I'm sorry.
No, I mean, I didn't really think about it like that, but like I said, just the initial like part that they showed, I was like, wow, this looks good. I even typed in the chat, I was like, this looks good. And then they showed gameplay and I was like, I'm less excited now. But another one I totally missed, which I watched the trailer after, but the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre game, I wrote an article about it,
which you can check out at hpcriticalgaming.
Yes, I'm really excited about that game. It's from the devs of Friday the 13th, the game, which I was a huge fan of, but obviously lawsuits happened and the game is pretty much dead. But it's okay because now we have a new horror title. I think it could even rival Dead by Daylight, because I always thought Friday the 13th was as much fun, you know. It just wasn't supported, and way less toxic, although I did get pretty toxic playing the game. There's other stuff, but I feel like those are my highlights. Actually, Nightingale looks really good to me. And also that, what was the other one? Steel Rising with the mannequins. Okay. I'm interested. We don't know much though. We don't really know anything about them except for like the premiere, and that's really it, but they looked very good. So I look forward to more information about these titles.
You know, it's funny. I did not like Friday the 13th. I played it for a little bit. I feel like, yeah, it was fun with friends, but it really just wasn't a game that I could play with like randoms.
No,
all.
I never played with randoms.
Like,
I had like a squad of people that I'd play with.
Must be nice. She's so popular.
Well, I was popular. I don't have friends now. I liked the proximity chat and stuff, especially with friends, like because you could fuck with each other a lot.
Yeah.
So that was fun. But like Dead by Daylight is so toxic, I would never play with randos with the chat, like ever. Never.
Yeah. I can agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, it did come at a really weird time, but I am excited to see what they do with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It sounds like it's going to be a good time. My standouts, speaking of Lady Dimitrescu winning, the only other person that I think totally deserve that, and it might just be because I might be the only person who played Life is Strange True Colors. I forgot the actress's name, unfortunately, but she played Alex Chen. She does such an amazing job in that game. Like there's such subtlety that she uses, but it really conveys her emotions, and that game is literally about emotions, and she's able to convey her emotions through her performance, which worked really, really freaking well. And so that was the only one I was like, dang it. But of course, you know, it's a popularity contest, and of course everyone was obsessed with Resident Evil 7 and Lady D at the time, so you know, definitely a big win.
Resident Evil 8.
Yeah, it's
shit
8.
Sorry, thanks. Resident Evil 8. Welcome, Gabe. Gabe is here, guys. Yay.
Hello, everybody. I don't know. I had the cover on my camera, so I guess that's why. But if it could turn on, that would be. Of course, Zoom not fucking responding, dude.
Whoa,
if I could,
first
Zoom,
F
I'm
bomb.
sorry.
Okay.
I don't like Zoom. Me and Zoom don't get along.
Terrell, what were you saying about your game of the year?
Yes. So as mentioned, game of the year went to It Takes Two. I did play a little bit of it. I really did enjoy what was there. And I'm gonna move on and talk a little bit about Final Fantasy XIV because it did win Best Ongoing Game as well as Community Support. And speaking of ongoing game and community support, and no, I'm not just talking about it because I love it. But I will give you guys a very quick little aside. I was playing today because I had a really, really crap day. I was playing today and there was a little Lalafell that was walking around whose name I don't remember. And he was just like circling me. So anyone who doesn't know, I'm a bunny boy, really tall. Lalafells are literally the smallest race. They're like super cute, super tiny. Think like little gnomes. And he was like circling me. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, why is he circling me? So I like waved at him and I like bent over to pet him. And he whispered me and he was like, hey, do you want some sweets, some candy? And I was like, yeah, which is not weird because like you take candy from little people, like little mini Lalafells. You don't take candy from strangers. So they were like, do you want some candy? I was like, yeah, sure. And then they like pulled out their little cooking set and they cooked me some healer candy. And they were like, I hope you enjoy it. And I was like, oh my God, you're so nice. And then we were like hugging and like cheering each other on. And then they like walked away and they're like, all right, I'm going to keep walking. But if you need anything, let me know. And like, it was through whispers. And I know it seems really, really trivial, but I was having a really, really bad day. And so when that happened, I literally cried because it was just a really nice thing, you know, like
it's the little things, just a little small gesture like that can like change an entire day, honestly.
It really did. Like they literally just stopped, cooked for me, and they're super cute, like adorable. I literally took a screenshot of them and you know, I messaged them and I was like, oh, you really just changed my day with this shitty little cooking thing. But like it was a really, really
your stupid shitty candy made me happy.
made me freaking cry, damn it. And I just love it, you know. I just love the community. And I was also just there, like I was just hanging out, and a bunch of people are on our server from different servers today. And okay, this aside is getting too long, so I'm gonna move on. But speaking of Final Fantasy XIV, today, I think it was, or yesterday, the company did put out a little bit of information on what the plan was, because anyone who has been playing since Endwalker knows that the queue times have been ridiculous. People have been waiting hours just to get in this game, and it's been really, really hard to get a chance to get in the game. And so Square Enix and Yoshi P have come together and explained what the process is and what they plan on doing to fix the issues. So I want to talk about all of that first, since we're talking about Final Fantasy XIV. So I'm gonna give you guys a quick rundown of what was mentioned in the update from the producer and director Naoki Yoshida on the ongoing congestion and additional game time compensation and more. So the first thing that we know, for anyone who doesn't know, is that Square Enix was giving 7 days of free game time to anyone who subscribed to the game. They've now gone on to say that they're giving an additional 14 free days of game time, making it a total of 21 free game time days, which is almost a whole month of free play for any players who are officially signed up and paying to play the game. So that's going to be 21 days of free game time in total. They're suspending all advertisements of the game that are actually feasible to do, because obviously there are some that they can't suspend, but they're suspending all advertisements of the game. They're just suspending deliveries of packages to retailers of the game. Free trial players anyone who was a free trial player is going to be unable to log in outside of late night or early morning hours, which is crazy. And they will temporarily suspend new registrations for the free trial. So if you don't have one already, good luck. Active subscription players are going to be prioritized for logging in. And they're temporarily suspending the sale and delivery of the Final Fantasy XIV Starter Edition and Complete Edition. And there's also going to be a roadmap for January 2022. That is unfortunately taking a little bit longer due to COVID-19, but that roadmap is going to be talking about how they plan on adding servers to each region, especially plans for a large-scale edition in North America and Europe. And they'll be looking at a number of servers, infrastructure, construction time, power issues, and server rack situation to see if they will be able to sequentially do it, or if they can do all of this in one big push. So that is a huge list of things that they plan on doing for the congestion and ability to people play Final Fantasy XIV. The reason I wanted to talk about it is because I thought it was a pretty big deal, and I know that some people don't like Square Enix and they think that, you know, all they're doing is they're out there to take your money. But I think because this one, you know, community management, etc., this is one of the reasons. And really, I wanted to know what you guys thought about a company that's willing to go to the lengths of remove advertisements for their game being too successful, so that players can players who are paying for the game are able to play it. Like literally removing that, restricting game time for free trial players to earlier late night hours, and giving the opportunity for regular players to be able to play, while also on the back end figuring out how to fix the congestion issues. How do you guys feel about something like that?
I mean, I'm glad to see they're doing something. I mean, whenever a new expansion comes out in an MMO, though, it's just like always like congested. I mean, people have to wait. I can't believe they're suspending advertisements. That was probably the thing that surprised me the most. Like giving people free game time. Okay, they already were allowed to play the expansion up to level 60 through Heaven's Word. Like that's already, you're giving people a lot of free playtime. So I don't feel like playtime is something that's a huge deal. But
I totally disagree.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, well, you go ahead. I don't know what to say. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. The playtime doesn't seem like that big of a deal to me. It's nice that they gave it, but if you already pay a subscription, like I paid for 90 days at a time. So it's like 21 days, not even like a quarter of what I pay, you know, what I pay for. But I mean, I've paid for 2 of them because I've been playing the game for a few months. I don't know. I think that suspending it and not letting free trial players log in, it makes sense because if you're on the free trial, you can't be above Heaven's Word. So you're not even playing Endwalker. Like we know you want to play, but you're not even at the end game content. I'm not either, but I pay. So that's all I have to say. I forgot. I mean, really.
Okay. Well, the only reason I said I disagree with you is because we're paying to play this content, and if we can't access the content that we're paying for, what are we paying for? You know what I mean? And so that's why I think, because I know a lot of people who, for example, are literally there was last Saturday actually, I could not log into the game at all. Just too much congestion, too many errors. I wasn't able to log in. And so for me, I'm paying for a product that I can't use. So free game time as compensation for that is a big deal to me. I know for other people, you know, like it might not be, but I think it's a decent deal for a lot of people to play, to pay a game and not be able to pay for a game and not be able to play it, right? So I think that that's why to me it is very significant, because that means you can, you know, after your 90 days are up, you still get almost a month of free game time before you have to, you know, resub, for example. And that's an entire month where you can do whatever the fuck you want. Like, well, almost an entire month where you can do whatever the fuck you want, to try to make up for the time that you missed, that you were unable to play the game for. So I do think it's a big deal. But yeah, to me, it's crazy working with like retailers to pull the game off the shelves is such a big deal, because what could have easily happened, right, is they could have just been like, yo, this game is making so much money, it's so popular, people can't log in, we'll work stuff on the back end, but we're going to leave the advertisements up, we're going to get people to continue to buy it, and then just be fucked when they try to log in, because at the end of the day, they have so many people that are already subscribed, that are already logging in, that bad experience is probably not going to hurt them too much on the top end, and they can still make money from it. But instead of, you know, going the really greedy route, it was like, all right, we know we have to do something. So I don't want to give them too much credit, because obviously they have to do something. Like this isn't a like, they have no choice. Like people literally can't play the game, they have no choice. So obviously you have to do something. But I do think it is the extra mile of giving additional game time, of removing advertisements, of putting restrictions on free trials that are noteworthy, I think. And that's really just what I wanted to bring up. Brandon and Gabe, I know you guys don't play, but I don't know if there's anything you wanted to add to before I move on.
No, well, just real quick, it's not too much more, but yeah, I agree that their hands were kind of tied there. It really does seem like, you know, what they're doing now was the logical thing to do, but like you also brought up, they even though it was the logical thing to do, they could have also just not and just continued to collect money because a lot of companies in that position would have done that. They would have just kept selling the game and just made more money even though it wasn't working. But I do think that it was. I wonder how much of that decision was even Square Enix's. I mean, it was all they had to approve it, obviously. So obviously it was. But I'm wondering if they were even the one that posited it, or if it was like maybe even the developers of 14 itself, who at this point we've been pretty much become accustomed to the fact that 14's developers are very friendly to their player base. So I almost wonder if they were the one that suggested, hey, we're not going to be able to get this working right now. Can we please stop selling this game for a little bit so we can fix this and not screw over new players and help working on existing players? I feel like they're more likely to have said that than Square Enix board being like, oh yeah, this doesn't work. Let's stop making money. Yeah. So that's just the theory. I have no basis for that other than just the fact that 14 players usually get taken care of.
Man, pulling advertisements for your hugely popular game at the height of its popularity and having to work with other people to do so, that is mind-boggling to me. I would leave the fuck out of those ads.
It's kind of unprecedented.
I think it's unprecedented, but I also think, like, were they getting that many new players? Like, because of Endwalker? Like, I thought most of the players would be people that had already finished the other expansions coming back. That's wwhy the servers were overloaded. Like,
it's
is
that,
it new
but
people?
Well, it is that, but every time an expansion comes out, new people come in because of FOMO. Like every new expansion, you'll get like several thousand new players. Like, oh wow, these people are really talking about this new 14. Maybe I should get started. It happens every time, and if that just keeps getting higher, by the time we get to Endwalker, which is in theory where it's all supposed to end, I don't know if that's actually true or not. Then this is people feel like, ooh, this is the ending of this big game. You mean that the story has an ending? Oh, I need to get in now. So that's what I'm thinking.
It's also, I think it's both, right? You have returning players who are like, hey, I'm gonna start playing again. There's a free trial that you can play for forever. Why not just join me? We can go back together. And now you have like returning players and new players, I think. The other thing I wanted to say about it is I was actually shocked that Final Fantasy XIV beat out Fortnite, just because Fortnite had an amazing year, whether you like the game or not. You got Rick and Morty, you got Naruto, you got fucking Mandalorian.
But it's just characters.
Kratos.
You know what I mean?
But very true. But these are very we don't have a game where you have Kratos with the Halo Master Chief with Ariana Grande. Like, that doesn't happen. And
Spider-Man with apparently really good web mechanics.
You can find a lot of different people in Final Fantasy XIV, so your argument's invalid there.
That is true.
You can find Ariana Grande in Final Fantasy. So but
yeah, you can.
it did surprise me because I think Fortnite is hugely popular, and they had a great year with all of these collaborations. Like, there's no lie, people went crazy for Naruto like coming to Fortnite, and now Spider-Man's there, and like it is the amalgamation of crossover. I think the only competition is like Smash Ultimate, that's like the next level. So it's a big ass game. It's got a lot going for it. It had a great year. I'm a little surprised but happy that Final Fantasy XIV won. And I'll move on to something that happened before the Game Awards that we didn't get to talk about, but it was kind of mentioned in the Game Awards, and so I know Kelly and Brandon, you guys were watching. I want your opinion on it. There was a situation where before the Game Awards happened, Jeff Keighley said that the Game Awards won't be taking a side on the Activision fallout, and that they would only be focusing on like reveals and the games, etc. And we know, having watched, that there was a comment at the very beginning of the show about being able to treat everyone properly and not accepting any negativity within the industry. But during that conversation, there were no call outs, no names were named or anything. And this was, of course, after the fallout of the announcement that the Game Awards would not take a side. So I know we didn't get to talk about the Game Awards not taking a side, but I do want to know whether you guys feel like what was mentioned was good enough. Like, do you think that was specifically meant to happen towards the backlash of the announcement prior? Do you think that it was enough? Do you think it wasn't enough? Do you think it even mattered? How do you feel about that? And Gabe too, I don't know if you saw it, but
yeah, I was watching the whole thing.
Yeah, so how did you guys feel about the beginning of the show where Jeff Keighley made that statement about the game industry?
I mean, I thought it was a very poignant statement. Like, I mean, I'm glad that he said something. And he had also, I think he had also been like posting on Reddit to like ask people how they might approach like the subject, which I thought was very personable. Could have just been, to be personable and not have people gut you on Twitter. But I don't know. I think with something like this, Activision Blizzard is an absolute giant, and they're Activision Blizzard King now. So I think King is like Candy Crush. So they're like the hugest, like who's bigger? Like I can't even think of anyone that's bigger. Maybe EA or something, but like, it's insane. Like calling out your biggest like company in gaming at the Game Awards might not be like the best move. I don't know. I don't work in PR. So it's just, I don't know. I'm glad that they said something. I don't know how I would have handled it at all. Like I said, like Activision Blizzard is giant. What do you say? Like, what do you say? And who knows, like if they sponsored event, like the only thing I'll say is that like nothing from Activision Blizzard won at all. So that was,
yeah, that's true.
One of the board members, I believe it's a board member, is from Activision, is also a part of the Game Awards. So there's that.
Yeah. And still they can't win. So all right, well, sorry. But yeah, I mean, you have people that are like kind of into everything. Like you don't want funding pulled for your Game Award show, but I don't know. I don't know how I would have handled it. I'm kind of like torn because there's a lot of devs who rely on Activision Blizzard income, and then their practices are also shitty. So like, do you want to support like devs that are just trying to make fucking games, or do you just want to like not support them? Like I stopped playing WoW. I'm pretty much never going to start again because of this whole, treating their employees badly and firing people when they said they wouldn't. Like, but
and
now the dev
milk.
Yeah, stealing breast milk. Just
I'm not even going to talk about that on this podcast.
Is it delicious? I don't know. Is it worth it? But like the conditions against women were like insane.
Yeah.
But like the women made money. Like, would my money for my World of Warcraft subscription be going to them, like working there? Like I don't know. The devs have to eat too, but like I don't want people to be treated bad. I'm like kind of torn here.
I would just like to say that you all look so beautiful and I missed all of you.
I love you.
Trying to switch the subject.
No. I was just looking at your beautiful faces. I'm so sorry. Yeah, Brandon or Gabe, did you have any feelings about it?
Yeah, most of it is I mean, Kelly said most of it, but I will say that I just want to put out there that I don't think that Jeff Keighley is a man with like ill intentions. I just want to make that pretty clear. Like, I definitely do not envy the position that he's been put in, because he even said like somewhere, I think it was on Twitter, that he owns the Game Awards 100%. But of course, owning it doesn't mean you have every decision, because at the end of the day, like Kelly said, it still has to get funded. Mm-hmm. So you may have like all the say in the world, like creative wise, but if you still step on the wrong toe, then you could then your Game Awards suddenly isn't as big as you would aspire it to be. And he's always wanted it just to be like the biggest show it possibly could be, to celebrate the game industry and show what's coming up in the future as well. And I think him even going to like Reddit to like ask what do I do here is poignant, because not only one, yeah, I also wouldn't know what to do in that situation. And two, he probably wants as much advice as possible from the people itself of what the correct solution here would be in this situation. How do we keep the show to be as the best as it can be without also it just, also using your platform for good, without it also being a platform. Like, you can make a really good message on your platform and then the next year not have a platform at all, or it be significantly smaller. And that's a heavy burden on anyone to think about, honestly. Frankly, I know a lot of people would have preferred that he name dropped. I know I would have also preferred if he had name dropped them in this situation. But just quite frankly, given his unenviable circumstances, I think he made the best move that he possibly could. Showing support to those who have been wronged, while also not, we're not saying names. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that it wasn't like a complete move toward with the people that needed the message, but it was better than nothing, and at least he'll still have a platform in which he can still, potentially do more positive message in the future, and continue to make the Game Awards the celebration that people want it to be, I guess.
You know what he should have done? He should have just had Joseph Ferris go up and say it. What's his name?
You know what? Yeah,
like, hey, just go make a statement on like Activision.
Just
see
hey,
what
fuck
happens.
Activision Blizzard. Fuck Activision Blizzard. Fuck you. Just have him do it.
Also,
and then it's him. He could just conveniently like.
Yeah, he'd be like, I didn't say anything. He said it.
But you want to do that? Like Joseph Ferris at this point has become kind of like his buddy. He's had ever since that initial fuck the Oscars thing. He's had him in every single Game Awards in some kind of position where he could spike. This would have been the only exception, but then it takes 2-1, so we got a platform anyway. So it's like,
the only thing I will say about him that I disagree with is when he said go get children or have children. Don't do it.
You can't. What did he say? If you don't have children, go get one. Like
don't do it.
Get one.
I've agreed with everything he said, but that last one, just please don't just go get a child. Like, it's not. He's having a great time because he's got money.
Wow, Joseph Ferris, winner of the It Takes Two Game Award. You told me I should go get children. Maybe I should go get a child.
There's gonna be the next baby boom happening. Like
exactly.
Joseph Ferris called the next baby boom.
And I'm gonna message him on Twitter and be like, I can't afford this. Why'd you make me do
I
it?
can't afford this baby.
Imagine,
You know what the funny thing about him saying to go? What the funny thing about him mentioning like it, go get a kid, is that It Takes Two's whole premise happens because of the kid. Like everything fucked up happens because of the kid.
Because of the kid.
We're getting divorced because of our kid. Like
no, that's literally what the game plot is.
Premise of the game.
Just imagine a kid's history book in 2050 where they read the second baby boom was caused by the Game Awards 2021.
You don't have a kid? Go get one. Like
they'll just put that as a quote in the history book, and it's like what?
He has the most adorable picture of him and his kid on Twitter. I don't know if you guys
saw it.
It's super cute.
It's really cute. It's really
super cute. But also just don't just don't do that. Like, don't listen to everything.
Maybe if you It Takes Two money. I mean,
yeah.
That's
clearly.
true. If you got It Takes Two money, then do whatever. But no. If you weren't already in your heart thinking about getting a kid, don't get one because Joseph Ferris told you to. That's all I'm gonna say.
It's like, where did you get this kid from? Like, it's just like what? Okay. Anyway, Gabe, did you have anything quickly to say about that debacle?
Yeah, I think he did the right thing in not name dropping, contrary to what everyone else has been saying, because really based off of what Twitter was after the Game Awards, people still would have found something to bitch and moan about. They would be like, oh, he didn't mention Ubisoft, he didn't mention so and so. So I think him making the general station was the move to go, because
you're right.
It's not, again, it's not just Activision and Blizzard. They were the ones that they're the forefront of it, but it's not just them. It's, a lot of the gaming companies, Riot, Ubisoft. So I think the generalization of it was the right move.
Sure. That's fair.
Sounds very good to me. Anything else before we move on?
I really like your Judge Judy pillow. Sorry, I've been meaning to say it since I got into the podcast, but that pillow is so funny and it's so good.
Yes, anyone who knows me knows that I watch Judge Judy every day because it's the best show on television, and that was a birthday present from my wife. So thank you, Marissa.
That's so cool.
I know, right?
Marissa, wish you were here.
I know. I told her that earlier. Unfortunately, she couldn't be here. But yeah, let's move on. All right, so moving on. Keanu Reeves says he thinks it's nice that people attempted to mod Cyberpunk 2077 so that they could have sex with his character. That's from IGN. Anybody want to jump in on that one? I know I would like to.
Yeah, well, I thought that they took it out because like he would be offended and he thinks it's great. So put it back in.
Right? You might as well put it back in.
He's cool. He's
cool
with it.
He's cool with it.
Put it back
He's
in.
cool
if you know what
with
I mean.
people using his likeness like that. So put it back in.
You know what?
Yes.
That's what she said.
She said.
Oh my god. Anyway, so you know something that Kelly's not cool with? The pink and purple colors of the new PS5 console covers. She thinks
I'm
look
cool
tacky.
with them. They're tacky. Listen, they're tacky to me, but like if I had like a pink setup and like the pink PlayStation, like okay, but like pink, like it's so like it's like bubblegum pink. Like why is it so bright?
My lip gloss is popping.
What's so funny is that I was literally talking to my
What year is this?
I was talking to my friend and I was like, I kind of want the pink or purple one. And then Kelly goes in chat and she's like, the pink and purple are so tacky. And I was like, I don't even want one anymore.
But like, okay, your headset, Jarrell, you know how it's like
I have a bunch of pink stuff. Yeah. You
but
can't
it's
see it, but I
like,
have a bunch of pink stuff.
but it's like light pink, millennial pink,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
like
yeah.
pink. I
Yeah.
hate that. It's
Yeah.
so tacky to me.
I actually had a problem with the blue that they chose because who has that type of blue in their setup ever at all?
That light blue,
yeah,
the cotton
it was
candy one,
very weird.
Yeah.
Like I
Like,
needed a dark blue. Like what is this?
Like,
it looks nice, but like I don't know, the light blue is like cotton candy. It looks a little weird.
It
I just
won't
wish
fit.
I just don't know why they chose those colors. Like
Yeah.
if they had every other color, like the Legos with all the colors, like the rainbow and then the light blue and pink and stuff, like I get that. There's like a color theme. I guess galaxy is the theme. I like
Yeah,
what
it's
I would like
galaxy.
a gold or something even. Like just because
Oh.
but like
I
you know
want
the,
iPad Air colors, honestly.
No, you see, that's
For
what I was
real.
about
But
to say.
darker.
I feel like that whole gold and those sleek colors, it's outdone. Apple's outdone
but
them.
I just feel like okay, the background when you open the PlayStation 5 is like gold and like shiny. Like, give me that. Like,
Mine is
okay,
blue.
you know, what do you mean? When you first open it, it's like shiny,
but when
like
you're on the select
sparkles.
screen,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
picking your profile, not when you like start it up.
It's like
Yeah.
once in a PlayStation 5 lifetime, though.
That is not true. It literally happens every time I turn mine on. Do you
Every
not
Every time I
time
turn
turn
yours
mine
off?
on, it gives but I mean, I get the black screen, then I get the PS button. The
Oh,
PS
because it probably goes
button.
directly to your. Well, even the
No, then
PS
it goes.
button,
Then it goes where I choose my
So then you see
choose the
it.
account. It's blue for me. I don't know what you guys are talking about. My shit's
Okay.
blue.
Well, it doesn't matter. What does matter is
does
that
matter. I
the
need to look at it now.
PlayStation covers are coming in 5 different colors, which are purple, pink, blue, cosmic red, and black, which are these galaxy style colors. All these colors are also coming with DualSense controllers that match. I will be getting the black one. I've already pre-ordered it just because my white one is actually scuffed and you can totally see the scratches on it because I travel with my PS5 a little bit. Yeah, so there's like scratches on it. So I've already pre-ordered the black one. Are you guys planning on getting one? And
I
if
have a
so, what
black-
color?
I kind of have a black controller, so I'd probably get the black.
I also have this black, for anyone watching, I have this black pink controller, which is why I was like, oh, maybe I'll get the pink. But this is like a nice cotton candy pink that matches my headphones, not that tacky pink that PlayStation chose.
Magenta.
So let's talk less about PlayStation and more about other gaming news that happened this week. A new Black for Blood update release today or yesterday, I don't know when this happened, added an offline campaign with progression to the game. I said fucking finally, because I don't want to always play online, and then Gabe told me, you say that like you're gonna play the game. So that's all I have to say on that one. Does anybody else want to add anything?
I'm
Cool.
not
Was
gonna
I
play it.
wrong?
It's not a game I'm gonna play without friends.
Yeah, after playing with you guys, there's no way I'm playing that game solo.
Exactly.
Absolutely
That's like
not.
it's us four or nothing.
Yeah, so also by saying that, the last time I touched that game was when we played that game,
Yeah, me too.
which was over a month ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who knew it was really hard to play and do a podcast?
We found out the hard way. So consumers continue to show a significant preference for PS5 over Xbox Series X/S, says DFC Intelligence. Not surprising. I won't go into this unless somebody else does. I plan on moving on. No, all right. So Microsoft acknowledges its missteps in handling of Lionhead Studios, the creators of Fable. This is over at Eurogamer.net. Lionhead was co-founded in 1997. Blah blah blah. One of the biggest missteps that we learned, this is a quote, from in the past was Lionhead. We acquired Lionhead in 2006 and shut it down in 2016. A couple of years later, we reflected back on that experience. What did we learn, and how do we not repeat our same mistake? You acquire a studio for what they're great at now, and your job is to help them accelerate how they do what they do, not them accelerate what you do, said Phil Spencer, head of Xbox. So I haven't played a Fable game ever, so I'm not really connected to this, but I think that quote's pretty telling, and I think it's kind of what Microsoft is doing now, and also PlayStation, right? They're hiring these studios and encouraging them to do what they do best, as opposed to trying to steer them in a different direction. So any thoughts on that one?
It sounds like someone's hungry for exclusives.
Yeah, for sure. But really, yeah, like they're like you said, they're both Xbox and PlayStation are doing this, and I think it's the way to go, because we have seen a lot of we're still seeing that today, honestly. Companies getting acquired, and it says, haha, extra manpower, do this thing we want you to do. But we were working on, you don't do that anymore. You do this now. I think it's what happened like with Toys for Bob, like they were doing like the Crash games. They got a recent inquiries like, haha, help us make more Call of Duty. Money and stuff like that. It's unfortunate that that's still happening today, but I'm glad it's happening a lot less. I have played at least the first Fable, a good amount of it. But the question, this thing with Lionhead, was this after they had already made Fable? Like, I'm trying to figure out like what the timeline here is. Like, were they forced to make Fable, or?
I know nothing about Fable.
Okay, because
like,
it felt like
zero.
Fable was all I'm saying is that like Fable felt like it was a game made out of like love. Like there really was no other game like it when it came out. So it does feel like something they actually wanted to make, and it feels like they kept doing that for a while. But again, Lionhead is gone now, and another studio is doing the new Fable game, which we've seen nothing except for that teaser. So there's that, I guess. But not much else to say. I think it's good that he said
that. I think it's good that he said that too, because like, you might as well at this point. So did you guys hear about the situation with Bungie?
No, not in so much detail.
All right, so I'm not going to give you lots of detail because this is less than a 2-hour podcast, but I will tell you this quote from IGN, which is, they have an extensive report on Bungie's work culture, which spanned a long history of sexism, boys club culture, crunch, and HR protection of abusers over more than a decade. Bungie also has recent efforts to turn that culture around, including quietly removing a number of harmful individuals from the company in the last few years. That is a quote from IGN.com's article titled Bungie's head of HR has stepped down, which I actually want to talk about. HR Gail DeHont is stepping down from her role at the company after more than 14 years, effective on December 15th, which was yesterday, which IGN learned. She said that, I know that they need to be trusted to be your advocates, not labeled as enablers or seen as a company whose company resources who provide bad actors with safe harbor. She's officially stepping out of her official role as senior employee relations manager. It's not clear whether or not she will remain with the company. In her email, she states that she will work with Holly, which is the chief people officer, and the leadership team at Bungie to determine what the appropriate next steps are. She mentioned that her time at Bungie had including working through deeply challenging interpersonal conflicts, including termination of employees for performance, bad behavior, and for discrimination, racism, and sexual harassment. She added that this included reporting her own abuser, a man, an executive, and someone I thought was my friend at Bungie, which resulted in Bungie firing him. She concluded in her email, I am proud of the work I did at this company. I believe I made recommendations that were in the best interest of our people and in the service of the company we wish to become. I also believe we made some mistakes, and that to become the better version of ourselves, the company I know we can be, we have to acknowledge and confront them in good faith and grow together. I'm not going to go too much into this. I just wanted to say, this is so interesting that it is such a juxtaposition of like what happened at Activision Blizzard versus what's happening or what has happened at Bungie. Bungie according to what we know, has quietly handled and fired everyone who's been an issue. Whereas from what we know about Activision Blizzard, those people that have been issues have been protected. And it's just crazy to see. Obviously, there are a lot of things happening everywhere. So I'm not going to I don't want to target these two, but these are the two that we probably know the most about. So I just think it's so interesting how these two different companies are handling this, and the fact that she stepped down while also having to report her own abuser, which is obviously going to be something that's super hard. I would assume. I don't have the experience to talk about something like that, but it's wild out there. Everybody be safe, be kind to one another, etc., etc. I don't know if you guys have anything to say about that before I move on.
Not really. Well, actually, no. I will say this. It's like you said, it is completely, in many ways, night and day from what Activision Blizzard is doing. Like this feels like an actual apology, because an actual apology is acknowledging when you've done wrong and then showing how you're going to fix it, in my opinion. So this is pretty much the opposite of Activision Blizzard, because they were denying for the longest until they literally legally couldn't, or it was too obvious that it would have been just foolish to keep the charade going. And now, because their backs against the wall and starting to hurt them bottom line ever so slightly, is when they're starting to really make the moves that they should have made eons ago, quite frankly. Whereas Bungie, it's been a lot of work behind the scenes, but by the time they're already making this apology, already been put in to try to get things back to normal, which I think is important. You've literally shown that work is going in before you even said anything.
I think this is a perfect thing to shut up those people that are like, all these allegations are going to make the games worse. No, Bungie's had, as far as this is going to sound bad, but I don't pay attention to Bungie that much. They've had two very successful games over the past couple of years, Destiny and Destiny 2. And we didn't know this stuff was going on. And guess what? I'm saying we as a general statement. I don't know about the other three here, but we love those games. Those games were exciting. But guess what? We didn't know people were getting fired for being racist. We didn't know people were getting fired for harassing a coworker. So that whole thing of this stuff is going to damage the way I play my game. No, it's not. If a company acts the way they're supposed to act, everything's going to continue going on smoothly. In a way.
Hard agree. I did love Destiny.
You can't pause like that. You make me think you're gonna just disagree and throw my life apart.
No, oh my god, no. I completely agree. I think
Dre's gonna be like, I know I had to do it to him.
Hard disagree. I think you're stupid, first of all.
Never. I think it's great that they're able to handle this and they have, actual repercussions for issues, as far as we know. That's something for another time, though. What's for right now is this article over another article at Eurogamer.net titled "Roblox accused of being an unsafe environment for children." Everybody knows that Roblox is for children. So before I get into this, I saw, and I don't know if you guys saw this, but I saw an article that was, and I'm not going to say where it was from, mostly because I just don't remember where it was from. But there was an article that was it was something to the effect of where to find all the adult content in Roblox. And there was some discourse over this article, because basically people were saying you shouldn't publish articles like this because Roblox is essentially targeted almost 100% at children, and articles like that are just more harmful to the game than they are good. Also, why are you looking for this type of stuff on Roblox? So real quick, what do y'all feel about an article like that?
I mean, yeah, you should not be publishing something like that. It's a kid's game. That game's more popular with kids than Fortnite is, and that says something, because kids love Fortnite. It's like, what are you doing with your life that you know this information, first of all? And how are you?
I didn't even know this stuff was.
I didn't know that was the thing of Roblox.
So let me also say that I'm gonna read this quote here. According to its most recent financial reports, year on year, its revenue has increased by 102% to $509.3 million for Roblox. Like, Roblox is rolling in the blocks. Get it? Yeah. Guys, come on! It's rolling in the blocks. Come on! Thank you, Brandon. Like, but it's also an audio visual experience, so everyone who's listening doesn't know that you agree with me. You know what? I am just gonna move on. Bro, why y'all did me like this? Like, I don't understand. All right, whatever. Okay, anyway, Roblox is accused of being an unsafe environment for children. A new People Make Games video highlights this issue. People Make Games is a YouTube channel where they discuss different things. And so I'm going to read a quote from here. Back in 2017, Roblox closed its official Roblox forum, not the developer forum, as the structure at the time does not allow us to maintain the high standards that we feel are so important for nurturing a constructive and positive environment. It's commonly believed this is partly due to posted links to an illegal child sexual abuse site. This means many Roblox developer communities have moved to external platforms like social media and Discord, which may be unsafe for children and are not regulated at all by Roblox. The People Makes Games video even includes interviews with a child developer who was the victim of abuse. The developer accused seemingly still has his games monetized on the platform, despite Roblox stating to People Make Games that developers removed from our platform for policy violations also lose access to monetizing. A further story in the video claims that Roblox collective market works like gambling. You don't want your kids gambling. One of the draws of the game is dressing up your character in virtual outfits, often sponsored by brands and celebrities. Many of these are sold in limited numbers for a limited time. These cosmetics can be bought from other Roblox users using the Robux virtual currency, often for extortionate prices depending on demand. Roblox initially sells them for the equivalent of $5 to $10, but prices can raise to $15,000 in US money. So that's what we're looking at when we talk about Roblox. Roblox reportedly takes a 30% cut of all sales, excuse me, meaning the company has plenty to gain. What's more, the store page includes a graph of price changes, acting like a stock market. There's no upper limit on how much users can spend. Around half of the users on the platform are age 12 and under. So Roblox takes 30%. Most of the users are 12 and under. There is no limit for how much you can spend. People are on there trading up to $15,000 worth of stuff, and Roblox is getting a lot of money. What's the situation? How are we feeling about it? Okay, not okay, don't care because you don't care about Roblox. You don't care because fuck them kids. How you feeling?
I mean, I don't have kids or play Roblox. I mean, I don't know how to feel about it. Like, do kids deserve to exist on the internet? Not really. I mean,
I'm sorry. Did you mean to say what you said?
What do you mean?
You said, do kids deserve to exist on the internet? Not really.
Yeah, I mean, like, okay. The thing is, like, kids on internet like platforms have to be monitored. Like, I'm an adult. I'm allowed to do what I want on the internet. That could be something bad. Like, I don't know. I don't really know why we're talking about this. Like, I don't understand what the point of this story is.
So essentially they're saying that Roblox is not stopping these things from happening by protecting the more than half child player base that they have. They're allowing these things to go on.
What are these things?
Everything that I mentioned, which is going to include not having a stopgap on the amount of money that's being spent, children that are being essentially sexually harassed on Roblox because they removed the forums. So anything that's outside of the forum on Roblox does not monitor
to them. Oh.
But so like, because shouldn't they be using Roblox? Why would a child be on Discord? It's not meant for children.
Because they shut down the Roblox forums. So the kids aren't allowed to be on the Roblox forums anymore. So then they have to outsource onto things like Discord, but then that puts them in danger because they're no longer protected by the Roblox forum.
Okay, but I thought you said they could still talk in game.
They can, but there are certain things like people who one of the things that I mentioned was like one of the people who were caught in like a harassment issue. They're not supposed to be able to monetize their content, and yet Roblox is still allowing them to monetize their content, seemingly probably because they're still getting 30% off of whatever that person is making. So essentially this game for kids is not protecting kids, is the whole point of the video and the article. Does that make more sense?
Yes.
And so I'm asking, I guess my question for you guys is, do you think it's Roblox's responsibility to do things like open back the forums up, make sure that their game is not posting adult content and links, etc.? Or is it, like you mentioned, up to the parents, or like, is there nothing they can do? Are they out just for money? Like, what do you think?
I think that the harassment is an issue that I would take the most seriously, but everything else, I mean, if your kid's going to be on an online game, you have to monitor them. Like, the game is only responsible for so much. Like, they can only hold so much liability. The money thing, you have to set up passwords. I mean, seriously, kids spend on the Apple Store all the fucking time, like a lot of money. Like, I guess eventually it would throw up a red flag to Apple. On Roblox, $15,000. If my kid spent $15,000, I wouldn't have a kid anymore, Joseph Ferris, he said, go grab a kid. I'd be like, kid for sale.
Also fair.
I don't know. I'm glad that kids have something to do and like play a game online and stuff, but like, they don't, like, they're not paying for it. They're not like paying for this service. Like, I don't know, whatever. I think that everyone on this podcast agrees that it's not what.
I think it is Roblox's job to monitor that because their rating is E10. You need to make sure your game stays rated E10 for everybody because that's the ESRB rating you're putting.
Game where everyone makes their own games, though.
Yes, and so since you brought that up, actually, I do want to interrupt really quickly. That also means that children can be, and this is a quote from the article, that means that children could be working for another company outside of Roblox dealing in entirely unsafe practices without contracts. So essentially what also happens is that these kids are being outsourced by another person or company making games because they're good at it. That person is making money off of it. And then those kids are just, yes. Yeah. And so like these children are literally
that entire sentence sounds
being
sinister.
Extorted. Like that's also another issue with the platform. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't want to continue.
I meant Gabe.
Okay.
No, I was done. I was just saying it's their job because their game rating is E10. And I mean, you make an online environment, you need to keep it clean. But I mean, I guess child labor is a part of this, so I don't really have anything else to say.
Hey, it also says that sometimes these companies are run by children themselves. So what's gonna happen is that Kelly's gonna have a kid and her kid is going to just like make all the other kids like work for them. This is actually not funny.
My kid will be the king. My kid will be the king kid. All right.
King kid. I like it.
Sorry, queen.
Be like, you be the head kid, or else I'm giving you to Joseph Ferris. Darn it. Make me money or get out of my house.
Make me want to go to Joseph Ferris.
Honestly, it'll just be my luck that if I ever have kids, they won't like video games because I do. I can only imagine they're gonna just hate everything I like.
Fair.
Exactly how I did to my parents. Everything they like, I hate.
It all comes back to you. All right, so I have one last topic to talk about once I find it because I've lost it. Oh no. It's about one of my most anticipated titles, which is Forspoken, which they did show a new trailer for at the Game Awards. But give me 1 second because I had the article up that I wanted to talk about and now I can't find it. So while I look for this article, what have you guys been playing, if anything?
Oh, just mostly Final Fantasy XII and Pokemon Shining Pearl. That's pretty much been my rotation the last week or two.
My rotation's been Pokemon. I don't remember if I have Brilliant Diamond or Shining Pearl. I have one of the two. Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Nice.
Chivalry 2 because they had their free weekend and I was playing on PC with my friends. Game is fucking great. And there's one more game. Oh, and no. I don't remember the other game. Oh, Battlefield 2042.
I want to play.
Yeah, I tried playing Battlefield 2042 on my PC and it just refuses. So
Did you do
I don't
that?
know.
Was that yesterday?
Yeah.
Was it boot? Like, were you getting to the title screen?
Yeah, I was getting in the game.
The servers were down.
I was getting into the game though and just was like chopping. Okay, I'll try again. But I was playing because that didn't work. I played Halo last night, Halo Infinite multiplayer. That was pretty fun. It's pretty legit. And then I've also been playing Final Fantasy XIV. Although I can't progress past this one dungeon because I don't know. I'm just like the other day I was playing, I'm a white mage. So I was playing and this tank kept just like pulling these huge pulls and we kept just wiping. And I'm like, dude, change what you're doing. Like I can't do it. Like they had these huge AoE attacks and stuff. Like I could not, I don't know, whatever. I just quit the dungeon and I have not played again.
So. Oh no, you should have told me. We could have helped you.
I need help because I don't know, I was getting so mad. Like, I don't know, like how are you gonna let your team die and then just keep doing, I guess because the healer has to adapt. That's what it is. I
not at all. Not at all. You just had a bad tank.
It was so annoying. Like I've never been in a dungeon like that where it's like all these AoE attacks. Like I couldn't even catch up and heal because when you're a healer, you can't move and heal. Like I can't run and also heal you. I have to stop to literally cast the heal. Like whatever.
Elder Scrolls Online is better because you can heal and move.
Well, technically, the sage can heal and move. I know because
I mean, it's just I play a white mage, so yeah, white mage can't do it.
So I did find the article. There are a couple of articles about.
Oh, that's right.
What?
I forgot this is what we were waiting for.
Oh yes, I found it. There are a couple. I'm gonna go with the Kotaku one by Isaiah Colbert, titled "During a preview, Forspoken devs described their black pro tag in cringe-inducing ways. Black folks were surprisingly absent during the Forspoken hands-off event." I don't know. I feel like I read that in a weird way, so I apologize if it came out really weird.
Okay.
Did it? I don't know. Did it come out weird?
I don't think so.
All right, cool. Then never mind. I'm gonna continue. So there was a Forspoken preview event that a couple of people went to. Also, our wonderful friend Grayson was at this event, and he did have an article over at Game Rant about his experience. So you can totally read that as well. Shout out to Grayson. Which, if you want to find, I retweeted it, so you could just go to my Twitter, or you could just go to his Twitter at Grayson
Morales. Yeah, this is that.
Thank you. So let's talk a little bit about this, and this will be the last topic, and then you guys can go sleep like I would like to.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna read you guys some quotes for this. They did talk about, we're not gonna talk about all of it. They talked about the magic system. They talked about the combat. They talked about how the game is gonna work. They talked a little bit about the character, and that's what we're gonna pick up. Okay, wait, where is it? I'm just so unprepared for this. And I just had this too. Okay, here it is. So this is a quote from the article. While Forspoken didn't appear to be reinventing the wheel when it came to its magic open world, the leading actress, Ella Balinska, still stood out to me. Square Enix said its decision was obvious given its desire to have a strong female lead as its protagonist. Quote, "We wanted our hero and other characters in Forspoken to be reflective of our diverse audiences and relatable to our players," Square Enix said. "We decided to model Frey after casting actress Ella Balinska as we felt she embodied our envisioning of Frey perfectly. While meeting the lead writers behind Forspoken was meant to curb any fears I had with how its protagonist was going to be handled, it ended up sparking more unease than I initially had about the game. At one point in the pre-recorded Get to Know the Writers section, I learned that Forspoken has been in development since 2018 with Telltale Games' The Walking Dead writer Gary Whitta and Uncharted's head writer and creative director Amy Hennig, laying down the groundwork for the game's world, concept, and narrative while it was in pre-production." I'm going to skip a little bit forward. Here we are. While all of the high-profile names were all well and good, especially for their previous association in crafting AAA games, last I checked, none of them were Black people. Question marks rapidly started to fire off in my head about the game's handling of Frey, which were only festered by how its writers went about describing working with Balinska. Wow. My newfound fears weren't helped when Reimer and Stashwick described Frey's origin story, which came off as a tired amalgamation of Black stereotypes. Those stereotypes include her being very angry, her having fallen through the cracks of society, and being on the verge of prison before being teleported to Athia. The cherry on top of my newfound dread was motion capture and voice director Tom Keegan describing Belinska's mannerisms during her motion cap performance as having a very hip-hoppy kind of walk. I wasn't the only journalist to find Keegan's awkward remark and the lack of Black writers shown in our previews as harrowing. When Axios' Stephen Totillo asked if there were any Black developers or consultants involved with Forspoken in Square Enix video chat, he didn't receive an answer during our preview. Later on, he received an FAQ sheet that rounded up our media questions. Sadly, its answer came off as a canned response that leaned heavily on the hands-off preview, where Belinska's passionate feedback through her motion capture process regarded as invaluable feedback for the team. So essentially what they're saying is they don't have any Black writers. They described her walk as hippity hoppity, and they said that some of this person and some other people there felt as if the character was relying on Black stereotypes. However, there were not very many Black people at the preview event. And I know y'all aren't Black, so I'm not finna, make this real weird for you or anything. Luminous Productions is making this, by the way. They're the company that also did Final Fantasy XV. Apparently, Square Enix said that they consulted Ella Balinska. Essentially, they're saying they consulted Ella Balinska in, performance capture when creating this character. I've seen the character. I've loved what I've seen. I am just me. I don't represent all Black people. I was not at the preview event, obviously, but I don't think so. First of all, Janina Gavankar is in this, and I love her.
Yes,
as well as a bunch of other POC actresses from what we've seen in the previews. There are like a bunch of POC women in this game so far, and I think the biggest issue that people seem to have is that there are no Black writers or consultants featured prominently during the preview and possibly not in the game. And the description of her walk as being hip-hoppity or hip-hoppy can come off as really negative. So I guess I'll start with just asking you guys, do you think it's bad or negative to describe a Black person's walk as hip-hoppity?
What does that mean?
Yeah, I don't know
exactly.
what that's supposed to mean.
Is that like the new way of saying pimp walk?
Even better. What do you think it means?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, the fact that we don't know what it means, I think means that they don't even really understand what they're upset about, and I think that's important distinction.
Wait.
Did they just throw the word hip hop in there and just call the walk like whatever she was doing that's how they described it?
I'm assuming so. And so I think that okay, so I will say that if I was there and I saw some white people describe her walk as hip hoppity, I would probably be like, what the fuck are y'all doing? Like,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
What you mean by that?
What do you mean? Hip, what the fuck does that mean, broski? Like, what you trying to say?
If they mean that she walks like she like has like a skip in her walk, then just say she
has a
walks
skip in her
skip.
walk.
Yeah.
Walks like a rabbit or something.
Like, is hip hop supposed to be like, what's up? What's up? Like the 50 Cent thing when he does his music videos, so he goes back. Is that what it is? Is that?
Yeah,
guys, anybody watching, can you tell me, does this look hip hop to you? I mean, I'm a little white, but I don't. Does the hood help? If I put the hood up, is that gonna?
Okay, well now this is getting into racist territory.
I feel like this,
oh my god,
this is like
I feel like
hip hoppity.
Like, if they are such good writers, and these are like the writers, why can't you describe the way someone walks? Like, why can't you give a better description than that? Because, like I said, none of us can picture what the fuck they mean. So clearly it's not a good description.
So there was an update to this article that says the hip hoppy walk comment was mistakenly attributed to a writer and not motion capture and voiceover director Tom Keegan, who actually made the comment. So it wasn't one of the writers. It was actually the motion capture and voiceover director that made the comment.
Okay.
So apparently while he was directing her, he said, or I guess after directing her during the interview process, during the panel, he said that the walk was hip hoppy.
Maybe they didn't mean to say hip hoppy. Maybe they meant hippity hoppity, which apparently is a real thing, and it means
hippity hoppity I've heard of.
It means to walk, jump, skip, etc., with an uneven or hopping step or gait. So maybe they meant
well, then how
hippity-hoppity.
come
How do you get
he made the
hip-hoppity?
mistake
Yeah,
hip
what?
hoppy when it was the
Hip-hoppity?
black girl walking?
That's what I'm saying. That's why we need clarification over here, because hippity hoppity is close to
Very
hip
different than
hoppity,
hip.
but still, I mean, there's a hippity at the end of the hip. So how are you gonna miss that?
Anyway, essentially, aside from the hip hop walk thing, people seem to be very upset that there are no black writers on the team to discuss some of the situations that Frey goes through. Square Enix apparently said that they spoke to Ella Balinska during her performance to help with that. Do you guys think that that's enough? Do you think they should have hired more? Well, obviously they should have, so that's probably a really bad question. But
yeah, I mean, yeah, the answer is yes, they should have. But that being said, she's the character in question, and if she's playing the role authentic to her and her character, then I think it'll at least still be a good performance without it coming like off. That's my hope anyway. Again, obviously the writer should have been there, but what can you do?
I mean, I will say that I agree. I think that some of the things can be seen as stereotypical, but I also think that sometimes, and I don't know this person who wrote this article. I've only seen some of the articles. I don't know the race of or ethnicity of some of the people who were at the event. I'm assuming not a lot of them were black, because obviously the article says that they weren't. So I will not make assumptions on this, but I think that sometimes, and I'm probably going to get some shit for saying this, so sorry, but I think that sometimes white people are upset for black people when black people aren't upset. And it does happen. I'm a little iffy on the hip hoppy thing, but I personally liked her portrayal. Like, is that a fucking dragon is an iconic line, and I think that Ella Balinska knows what she's doing. I think she's aware, like Brandon said, I think she's aware of the character. Her character is someone who probably did fall through the cracks in New York. Does that have to do with the fact that she's black, or does that have to do with the fact that she's in New York? I don't think it always has. I'm not gonna say that. I'm just gonna say sometimes I think that people are mad for black people and they don't need to be, and I think that this is a case of that.
To be honest, though, we're all writers as well, and we know that you have to come up with content, and what better content to come up with than something that makes people feel like, whether it's angry or up in arms or whatever. I think that's the best kind of content that you can come up with. So using like these little things, like, you're just trying to capitalize on people's emotions, and I think that it, for an article, we talked about it, I think from a writing standpoint, to use material like this is, I mean, you're getting people's attention. So I think it's working, obviously.
Very fair point. And I think that's a great place to end. Thank you guys for another week. Thanks everyone for listening. Don't take my comments out of context, because sometimes y'all be fucking with black people and I don't like it. And because I know someone will. And with that, good night, everybody. Have a wonderful evening.
Good night.
Bye.
Happy holidays.